Hello students. Today we will be taking the last lecture number 5. So you have already have the lecture number 3 and 4. So today I will be recording the lecture number 5 for you. And today we'll be discussing about the object-oriented programming. We will talk about the 4 principles of object-oriented programming. And then we will talk about inheritance, abstract classes, and abstract methods, and then finally we will talk about the visual methods, and then we will see some lab work that you need to do during the. So first of all, the principles of object-oriented programming. The first one is abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and the polymorphism. Abstraction is hiding unnecessary details from the user, implementing more complex logic on top of the provided abstraction without understanding or thinking about the hidden complexity. The simplest example we always use, or we have been using in this course as well, using some methods from the existing classes. So we have seen some data structures, stack, list, array list, and then we have certain methods, array list dot add. We are adding a new element in the list. So this method, how it is being implemented, what is the implementation details, how it is working, it is all hidden in that particular specific array list class or list class or the stack class or the queue class. We don't look into detail. That is an abstraction. Simply we try to print something on the screen, console dot print line or the write line, and then we give a string and multiple things inside that particular specific method, and it will print something on the screen in our console or command line. How it is happening? I mean, being the computer scientist, we know that there is a what you can say, that there is a memory which is available. We call it a VGA memory, video graphics VGA memory, video graphics adapter memory. And if we go and change the things in that particular specific memory, then they are visible on the screen, but everything is hidden from us. Okay, so this logic has already been implemented. We don't need to reinvent the wheel, and we can simply say that we want to use that particular specific method. Last week we see file input and output, and then in the file class we have a static method write all lines, and we provide the name of the file, and then we provide the lines that we want to write in this file, and how it is implemented, how it is opening the file, how it is writing the things, taking the lines from our string array and writing them in the files. Everything is hidden. So that is called abstraction. We are abstracting the details which are not necessary for the end user. Okay, so even for the programmers, we can go and look into that details, that how they are implemented, but definitely we can simply say that okay, we know these things, and that's fine. We don't need to worry much about that, how those things are being implemented. And even in the later version of the C# libraries, the Microsoft changed the implementational details of those things. We don't need to worry about those things, if provided that it is not changing the name of the method. Our programs are going to run smoothly without any issue. Even the background implementation detail has been changed. So this is the abstraction. Abstraction, making coffee with a coffee machine. Only need to know how to use the machine. Again, how it is working. We need to provide a water, we need to provide the beans, and turn on and select the coffee and hit the start button. We don't need to worry about that, how it is being implemented inside the machine. So no need to know working of the coffee, ideal temperature of the water, amount of the ground coffee, how it is going to be compressed, how it's going to be made. We only need to how to use that machine, the interfaces which are provided in terms of those buttons, and maybe a water supply you can plug in the water, or you can fill that particular specific tank of the water which is attached with that machine. That's it. That's how we need to know about how to use the coffee machine, how it is being made, what are the electronics are being used, how the electromechanical things are used inside the machine. We don't know anything. So this is what we can say that in the programming we also have these kind of abstractions. Okay, someone like already know about that machine and how to made it, and they have made it for us, and we just need to know how to use it. Again, hide internal implementation details. Only need to know method, what is the input and what will be the output of the machine. I give you the example that if we want to write something on the console, we can simply say console, that's a class. In the class we have a write line method which write a line on the console, and we provide the thing that we want to write on this screen. We only need to know what is the name of the method, what is in which class it is, and how we are going to use, what we need to provide as an input, and what it will do for us. If we know all those things, it is fine. Again, math.log, logarithm, how to create a logarithm, that is a mathematical structure which help us to do the things, and we can just provide a double value, it will do the log and give us the results. Encapsulation, abstraction, we get abstracting the details, square root, square, okay, all those complex mathematical models, methods which are present in the mathematics, we can simply use them without knowing the implementation details. The second concept in the object-oriented programming is encapsulation. We are bundling, we are what we are saying, that we are combining multiple things, we are making a package of the things, which is the data with method on the data. Okay, so we have data, fields, properties in the class, and then we have some methods, maybe a constructor method, maybe a get and set methods, maybe some method which are doing something in that particular specific class. All things are bundled together, they are grouped together in one thing, and that you can say that we also have studied the structure. It is also some kind of a bundle. We are bundling the things together, the structure of the point, in which you have the x-axis and y-axis values, x value and y values, and then we can compute the distance between 2 points. So that's also we have encapsulated the value and the object or functionality of those that point structure. We can make it a class, so both class and structure, they encapsulate the things. Even your program is encapsulating the things together in a different way. So restricting the direct access to some of the components of an object, we can say private, protected, public, internal. Public is accessible by all, private mean only the class itself can access it. Okay, and then internal mean that within the package the different classes which are present, they can access it. Protected mean only the child classes can access it. Okay, so this is the what you can say, that we have the private part, which is the only accessible within the class, and then we also have some visibility which is called maybe a public, mostly public, but we can also have some internal or the protected things which are still accessible out of the class, but with certain restrictions on it. So this is, we are encapsulated the different parts, data in which contain, we have the properties, we have constant values, we have attributes of that particular specific thing. Maybe we can say that about the humans, so we have different properties, these are the private things, some are the public behaviors, and so on. So we can encapsulate the things together, we bundle together. So consider human as a class, public class. Public mean that we have color, height, face, can breathe, walk, sleep, eat. These are the some methods, some properties. And private, digest food, heart system, brain, how brain is working, lungs, and different things which are hidden inside our body, but still they are functioning, and without their function we could not be alive. Okay, so they are still, they are there and they are hidden. Okay, I just give you the example that some things are hidden, something is visible. So if it is a visible, we can say that it is a public thing. If it is something hidden, we can say it's a private, because it is hidden inside our body. And then of course, when you go to the doctor can do the what you can say that ECG to find out about the heart system, and they can do the CT scan to find out more about the brain and so on, but definitely they are accessible but in a different way. But if you look at a human being, what you can see it's a public, and what you can't see is a private thing. I'm just giving an example. So everything is encapsulated, that whole system that the nature or the God has made for us, that is encapsulated in our body. So hide internal representation. I mean, we can hide the internal representation. Read and write, how it is done in the human is hidden with brain and its coordination. Reading and writing hide specific information and control access to the internal state of an object. So we are having, that's encapsulation. The third thing is inheritance. Inheritance is creating the new object based on the existing objects. For example, we have food. Food has certain properties. They have some ingredients, they have the name. Every food has some name, and then have some ingredients, how much carbohydrates they have, how much protein they have, how much sodium they have, and ingredients. There are different type of ingredients, and you can say that these ingredients are available in every way. You talk about the meat, which is like, meat, we have fruit, we have vegetables, so different type of fruits, but still they inherit, they have the same properties which are present in the food. Okay, if they have the same properties which are present in the food, then they can inherit. They can just don't need to rewrite those values here in the vegetables or the fruits and the meat, and then they can say that vegetable is a special type of the food which may have certain additional features as compared to the general food. So we can only add those features in the vegetables, and then the common features which are present in all three types, vegetable, fruits and meat, they are present in the food. We don't need to rewrite those things. So we are reusing the properties which we have defined in the food, and then we are adding more behaviors and the informations about the vegetables or the fruits and the meat in their respective objects. So creating new objects based on the existing objects. We will see the example, then it will be more clear that what does it mean. And again, we can further subdivide fruit. We have apple, we have orange, we have mango, we have banana. So all in this way, maybe apple has more iron as compared to the orange. Orange has more citric acid as compared to the apple or the mango. So they have certain additional information, additional properties which can only be defined in the orange or the apple class. So consider that we have animals. In the animals we have different type of animals. We have mammals, we have birds, we have reptiles, we have fish, we have amphibians. And under the mammals we have humans, we have whales, we have lion, we have cow, we have sheep. All they have, so they are sharing a bulk of it, the what you can say that the body structure and the body systems, but still they are different from each other. Okay, so consider we have the vertebrates which with the backbone, and invertebrates which don't have the backbone. Vertebrates we have the mammals, reptiles, fish, birds and amphibians. And in the mammals we have certain properties that they give birth of the young ones, feed with milk, have hair, and warm-blooded animals. They are warm-blooded animals. Some animals are cold-blooded animals. I'm not going to that detail that what that means. You can go and search on the internet or the Google, ask the Google Baba that what does it mean. Okay, so these are some mammals that are present in our world. So what are the benefits? We can reuse, we can extend or modify the behavior of the parent class. We can reuse the common properties which are present in the mammals, and we can extend certain properties, and we can modify some behaviors. Because if you look at the cow and the human beings, they both walk, they both move, but in a different way. Humans walking on their 2 feet, and then the cows are walking on their 4 legs or the 4 feet. They have a different way, the behavior is different, so we can modify the behavior based on the parent class. Parent class is a base class, we call that a base class or parent class. The child class is called the derived class, which is derived from the base class. We also have a single inheritance. Only one parent can be parent class. In the latest programming languages, if we talk about the Python, or we talk about the Scala, they allow the multiple inheritance. It means that one class can be the child of the multiple classes, but in the Java, in the C Sharp, in the C++, we allow only a single inheritance. It means that one class can only be derived from the one other class. Okay, so what is not inherited by the derived classes? Derived classes does not inherit the static constructors or instance constructors or finalizers. They don't inherit the constructors or the finalizers. Other than that, everything is inherited in the child class or the derived class. So here is an example of what you can say that this has been this class diagram has been implemented in the visual paradigm, and if you go into the Moodle, you can find that particular specific visual paradigm key that you can download from the visual paradigm. I think I don't remember exactly what that software version is, but that is mentioned in the Moodle. So you can download that version and you can give that key, and then you can activate that, and then you can use that particular specific software for the multiple courses in the UCOL. You can use that one. One is the here that how you can, if I ask you to develop the documentation and develop the class diagram to show the relationship between different classes and what attributes they have, so then you can use that software. So here we are saying that we have animal class which has the property name string of the string type. We also have the animal, that is the constructor of that class, which take the string value and initialize the name of that particular specific class. Do breathe, do eat, and do move. And similarly we have the mammal, again that's mammal, which is taking a string class which is the child of the animal, and this mammal will providing the string value to the animal class, and it will initialize that particular special. So name is there in the animal, we don't need it in mammal, we don't need in lion, we don't need in human or whale. It is there, so we can eventually through the mammal we can access that particular specific property. Again we have lion, which is constructor string. Lion pass that name to the mammal pass that name to the animal, and then animal is actually initializing this name property in the animal class. And the other thing that I have mentioned here, that is an abstract classes. We will be shortly discussing about that, what do you mean by the abstract classes. And then we have do move, number of legs, we do breathe string, how many lungs, and then we have say do eat, they eat animals or the meat. Human beings can be omnivores, they can eat vegetable, fruit, and the meat. Whale, they can breathe underwater, they eat, I think they are also eating some like killer whale is the orca is eating the meat, but the other whales are not, so they have different type of behaviors even in the whales as well. Abstract class. So abstract class mean that a class with incomplete implementation. So if there is something missing, it is not a complete implementation, we can say that this class is an abstract class. It means that we cannot create an object of this class. Can be a parent of another class, it can be a parent, the other classes can be derived from the abstract class, but this class cannot we cannot create the instance of that object. So if we say that, for example, my class and then my object is equal to new my class, no, it is not possible for the abstract class. So non-abstract child must implement the incomplete implementation. We can have, if we look at that, we have the animal, which is abstract, mammal, which is also abstract. We can, because we can't have the mammal object. Can we have a mammal object which is not lion, which is not human being, or which is whale? No, it's not possible. And can we have an animal object? No, we can't have. So that's why they are both abstract. The details of these particular do, breathe, do, eat, do, move, we can leave them without the implementation. Just write those methods and then say that these methods exist in the animal, these methods also exist in mammals. But here when we talk about lion, we can have the object of the lion. It means that we need to implement the details of those methods. Okay, so when we say non-abstract child of the abstract class need to complete that particular implementation. Again, I give you the example of the shapes. We have shape, then in the shape we have 2D shape and 3D shapes. In the 3D shapes we have the spheres, we have the cone, we have the cube. In the 2D shapes we have the quadrilateral, uh, the quadrilateral, which are the four sides. Okay, and then we have the rectangle. In my opinion, this should be the class subchild of this one here. And we also have the square. Square is also a kind of a quadrilateral, but now we can say that these are square and rectangle are the subchild of the quadrilateral. Or any of the shape we can have the circle class or the triangle class. Okay, and then again we have in the triangle we have multiple further subtypes. But consider that this is the structure, and let us start the implementation, how we can implement that particular specific, starting from the shape class. So we have the public, and then we put the abstract. So we are telling that this particular shape class is abstract, and if you look at the details, we have a string name, and then we have a constructor of this particular specific class, which is taking a string value input and assigning it to the name property, and then we have set and get methods, and there is nothing else here. Okay, because we can say that in the shape class 2D has a different two-dimensional shapes has a different kind of thing, how much, what is the area, what is the perimeter of those. On the other hand, the what you can say that the 3D classes, they have the volume and the surface area, so they have different kind of what you can say that the methodologies or behaviors based on their shape, that is a two-dimensional shape or a three-dimensional shape. And then if we go in our main method and we say shapes equal to new shape. Okay, and then look at that, cannot create an instance of the abstract type shape over an interface. When we talk about the interface, but right now we cannot create an instance of the abstract type. This is an abstract, this class is abstract, so when we try to create the object, our compiler is saying said no, it's not possible. Okay, so we cannot create the object of the shape. Then we have another class that is a 2D, which is the child class of the shape. So first of all, we are telling this is also an abstract class shape 2D, and then this column is telling that it is the derived from the shape, or the base class is shape and the shape 2D is the derived class. So shape is the parent and shape 2D is the child. So this column is actually showing the relationship, child parent relationship or inheritance status of this particular special shape 2D class. And then we say that we have a shape 2D, we are giving the string as an input, and then we are calling the base method name. So actually this particular shape 2D class get the string parameter name, and then we are passing this particular name to the base class, and eventually it will initialize the name of the name property inside the shape class. And then if you look at that, we have a public abstract double area. Now we are also saying that this particular, and here we are saying that this particular specific abstract class, abstract method double, which is going to return value, and then we have the area, which is compute the area of the shape, how much area is covered by that particular two-dimensional shape. Okay, and then we also have an abstract method which return a float value, and then we have the perimeters. And then we also have a virtual method. What is a virtual method? Virtual method is a method, you can say that, which can change. Like here we are saying that print shape, so we are saying the name of the shape is this, because we don't know which shape it is, how many sides it has, how many vertices it has, and so on. Okay, so here we have this one. So this particular method can be changed in the child classes. When you say abstract, it means that this, if you create a class which is not abstract based on this shape 2D, that particular specific class must implement these two methods, because here we have just written down their headers. We have not given any kind of an implementation. So for the abstract classes, they must implement these two methods or we can make them as also abstract. Okay, so they need to provide the implementation detail. If they are non-abstract classes, which are the child of the shape 2D, they must implement these two methods. For this method, they may or may not. They can change the implementation detail of this virtual method, or they can just leave it like this. So if we are calling the print shape method, if they have implemented the child class, then that particular method will be called. Otherwise, this method will be called. Okay, we will see in the details when we are implementing. So first of all, we have the square class, which is the child of the shape 2D, and then here, because we know that in the square class we have only one side, so we providing the side, and then we are providing the set and what you can say that we have two parameters for this constructor, name and the side. Name is going into the base class, go into the shape 2D, and then shape 2D pass that particular name value to the shape class, and then eventually it will initialize the name property inside the shape class. And here the side is initializing this particular specific side. Then we have the set and get methods, and then if we look at that, we have override, we have implemented the abstract methods of the shape 2D. Area, we know that we need to take the square of that particular specific side to get the area, and then if we want to find out the perimeter, we multiply, because we have four sides, we add them together, it means 4 multiplied by underscore side, that will give the perimeter. And then eventually we are saying that because it is a shape square class, so we can say the name of the shape is getting from the shape class and its side is this. So now we are changing that particular specific virtual method or the virtual behavior inside the child class so that it is more suitable for the actual class rather than giving a generic just name of the method. So virtual method implementation can be changed in the derived classes. Static methods cannot be virtual. Static methods, we can't have this virtual method which is also static. ToString method is also a virtual method in the object class. In the object class we have a ToString class. ToString means that you're converting that particular object into the string so that we can print something on the screen. That is a by default virtual method which is present in the object class, and you know that object class is the D base class in the C#, and that is exactly the same for the Java as well. Okay, so virtual method, we have given the implementation in the parent class, but that implementation can be modified, can be changed in the derived classes or in the child classes. So that is the behavior of the virtual methods. Again, we talk about the rectangle. In the rectangle we have a rectangle which is the child class with shape 2D. It has length and width, two sides, and then this is the what you can say that these are the two constructors. Again, we can have multiple constructors based on we only provide the name, and that name is provided to the base class, that is shape 2D. Shape 2D pass that name to the shape class, and then eventually the name property in the shape class has been initialized with the name that has been provided here. And similarly, if we can have the second constructor which has the name, which has the length and the width as the parameters, name is provided given to the base class and the length and width has been initialized here. And then we also have the public what you can say that the set and get methods, the public method which help us to initialize or access those length and width private values or private fields. Then we also need to implement the area in area and the override area and the perimeter method, which are virtual which are abstract in the shape 2D class. And then we can also change the print shape, which is a virtual method in the shape 2D class, and then here we are changing that particular specific behavior. We are saying length is this, width is this, and then we can also include the base. So we are saying that whatever the base dot print shape, print it, name of that particular specific shape, and then additionally we are printing that particular specific length and width values inside that print shape method. Okay, before we can talk about the sealed classes, let's go back into the implementation details. I have that particular specific shape 2D shape classes. So what I am going to do, I have implemented a rectangle class. So if I just try to let me implement the square class. So we can say that we have public class square, and then we are saying that that should be a, what's going on, why is not giving me a shape 2D, and here it is. Okay, it's saying that is already there. Look, I think I have implemented. So let me see that particular specific thing. Where is my we have the rectangle class, we also have the square class. Okay, so if I just try to make this like this, okay, now no, let me okay, where is this square class? I'll just try to remove this thing, and then implement again so that you can see that what are the, so we say public class square, and then we say shape 2D, that is the child or parent class or the derived. So if we look at that, when we come here, say that square does not implement the inherited abstract method, and if we look at that, we have these abstract methods, these two methods in the shape 2D, and then when we say that we all have a square class which is the child of the shape 2D, and this class is not abstract, and because it is not abstract, it need to implement those square abstract methods. So if I just make this class also abstract, okay, there is no argument given the corresponding the required formal parameter name. So I mean that now it's saying that it need to implement that particular specific public square, and then we have okay, base, we need to have that particular specific string name, and then we need to provide that particular specific name here. So now if you look at that, it removed that particular, because we need to provide that particular name to the base class. So that's fine. If we make that particular specific class abstract, we don't need to implement, because they are, this is also an abstract class, it's not a, but as soon as we remove that abstract from here, it say that you need to implement those what you can say that those abstract methods. So if we say alt enter, it say that implement the abstract class abstract methods. Also look at that, it has implemented, I mean it has created the methods for me, and then it said it throws non-implemented, but of course we don't want to throw the non-implementation here. We want to return what, we want to return a math dot power. It's not showing me those what you can say that the helping so here we can say that underscore first of all we need to define that we have what you can say that we have a private float underscore side. So we have the side, and we can also have a public square, we say int, not int, it is a string name float side, and here we can say that base, and we provide a name, and then here we can say that underscore side is equal to side. So we are providing that particular specific constructor. We have the sides. So here we can say that return, because we are computing the area, so return math dot power. We need to provide the side and then power 2. Okay. Static methods are start with the capital N, so we have this one. And then similarly we can implement the perimeter, so we need to implement that. So we say return, and that will give me the 4 multiplied by underscore side. So we have that. So look at that, if this virtual method has not been implemented, okay, so I can just try to run that program. Am I doing something in the main class? No, we are not doing anything. So if I just try to unshape, it's again that cannot create the instance of the shape class. So right now I just make it a comment. Okay, so now again if I want to implement that particular specific virtual method, so instead of writing the virtual, I say override, and it should not return me anything, and then it say me that you can implement. So either you can say that you want to call the base method, the base print method, yeah, we can. And then after that we can say that console dot write line, and then we can simply say that side of square is side. So if we just try to create a, what you can say that, we can say that here, for example, we say rectangle rectangle is equal to rectangle, and then we can provide it should be rectangle, and then we need to provide another name that is maybe up to 3.5. okay, and then we can simply say that rectangle dot print shape. And if I just try to run this thing, we have the error. And where are the errors? Are we writing the right name? It says that there is no argument given that corresponds to the required formal parameter width or the height. Okay, we are talking about a rectangle, and I'm considering that I'm using the 4.5, and then we can simply say that this. Okay, floor doubles. Yeah, and that's the point. By default, whenever we are giving 2.5 something, by default it is considered as a double value. And if we look at the rectangle details, so we are saying that it take the float value, and when we give the 3.5 4.5, it is by default considered as a double value. And because the system cannot convert the double value automatically into the float, so we have to tell that this particular value is actually a float. So in this way, then we will be able to run the program successfully. So you can see that name of the shape is rectangle, length is 3.5, width is 3.5 4.5 as well. Okay, so I think that we are putting that one here. Oh, fine. Similarly, we can say that we have a square is equal to new square, and we are providing the name square, and then we are providing the value 4.5, and then definitely we need to provide them that this is f. and then we can say that square dot print shape, and if we try to do that, it is going to implement. So you can see that the name of this shape is square and the side of square is 4.5. And similarly we can call the other methods, which are called the other method, which are present in the shape and the in the rectangle and the square classes. Okay, so let's get back to our lecture again. So we talk about rectangle, we talk about the square, and then we see that how we can implement the abstract methods, how we can override the virtual methods, and then we also have the concept of the sealed classes. Sealed class is a class which cannot be a parent class of any other class, so it cannot be further subdivided. So we can say that because there is no further subdivision, or there is not a possibility that we will have different type of squares, so we can say that it is a sealed class. So how we can do that? So we can simply say that public sealed class. So now we are saying that because square cannot be further have a type, so there should not be a child of this particular specific class. So if I just come down here and try to say that public class type of square, and then square. So if we look at that, it says that cannot derive from the sealed type, that is a square. So we cannot have a child of a sealed class. So we can say that we are telling that this particular class cannot be further have a derived class. It cannot have a child class. So we are putting that particular specific thing as a sealed class. Okay. So prevent further inheritance, and no class can be derived from the sealed class. So this is another that we need to implement. So we have a circle, we have a square, we have a triangle. So these are the three classes. Of course, you need to implement in our lab session. You need to implement the shape class, shape 2D class. Then we also have classes that we have implemented here, square and the rectangle. You also need to have a circle class, which is and you know that this area of a square is pi r square, and then the perimeter, which is the circumference of the circle, it is 2 pi r. And similarly for the triangle class, we have triangle which has three sides, side 1, side 2, side 3, and then we can complete the s. It is a side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 and divided by 2. That is a perimeter. We are adding the three sides, that will give us the boundary wall length, and then area is s multiplied by s minus side plus s minus side 2 and plus multiply by s minus side 3. We multiply all this together, we can take a square root, we get the area of the triangle. So we try to implement that particular specific things inside of a lab session, and here are some references. If you have any questions, then I will be willing to answer your question during the class. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.